Hi there,
I am Jake,
and my name's Zach, and
and
this
this
is
is
the
the
COVID-19 Safety Information Podcast.
we're going to be trying to get over and get across to you guys just some basic things going on right now and ways that you can make this COVID experience as safe and positive for you and the ones around you as possible.
Yeah,
Uh,
as we hit a year into the pandemic and start to just transition into this new normal, there's plenty of new tips and information for us to give you and for you to take with you after today. So go ahead and tell them, Jake.
yeah, so we're going to be starting with what I bet most of you are most excited to hear about, which is the vaccine rollout that's going out. So basic information about vaccines, there are actually multiple different vaccines that are on the market right now. So if I could get into a little bit about each one of them, probably the one you're most likely to come across is the Moderna vaccine, which was the first major one to roll out. It's 2 shots, 1 month apart, and you're going to be taking that one in your upper arm. It does not contain eggs, preservatives, or latex. So if you're allergic to any of those, this is a good one for you. And it's recommended for people 18 and older. So no kids yet for actually any of them. That should be noted. But you should also not be vaccinated if you have had a severe allergic reaction or an immediate allergic reaction, even if it was not severe, to any ingredient in the vaccine, such as polyethylene glycol, which I'm sure if you know about it, you're probably allergic to it. You should not be getting that. If you've ever had an allergic reaction to anaphylaxis as well, then that's another thing you want to watch out for. And if when we're talking about allergic reactions here, we're talking about allergic reactions that need to be treated. So if you have to use an EpiPen or if you go to the hospital, that's the type of thing we mean. Immediate allergic reactions you should watch out for if you do have a bad side effect with the vaccine is hives, swelling, wheezing. But if you have some of the common side effects such as pain, redness, or swelling, those are just pretty normal. You shouldn't worry about those. As well as some people have reported getting tiredness or headaches, muscle pains or chills, and fever and nausea. These are all completely normal, and it's a hell of a lot better than what you'd have with the virus itself.
You know what, Jake? Actually, I had a very close family member of mine. My aunt actually received the Moderna vaccine. She's an educator inside of a prison here in California. And you know what? She just, all she had as far as experiences was just a little bit of raising, which I don't think is, odd for any other kind of, shot like that. But other than that, she was just fatigued. So, and very lightly, she even went to work the next day. So, if anybody has any concerns about those side effects, her
That's great to
experience
hear.
is pretty good. Yeah.
That's definitely great to hear. The second big vaccine that's out right now is the Pfizer vaccine, which is made by Pfizer Inc. That's again 2 shots, but a little bit closer. It's 21 days apart. It does not contain the same uh, ingredients as the Moderna vaccine, so you don't have to worry about latex infections or things like those. And it's the same general uh, uh, allergy information. And it's pretty similar, except for just the fact that it can go a little bit quicker, and it's a bit of a more positive rollout in terms of the first shot. And the only major difference between those two and the other vaccines is that when you're talking about the Johnson and Johnson vaccine, which was the final type of vaccine I wanted to brief you on, which is 1 shot. So obviously that's gonna this one again is not in mass availability as much as the other two, which is why you might not know as much about it. But it is 1 shot, also given in the arm, same allergies, ingredients, and everything. But it's going to be a lot easier to get across just because you don't have to worry about coming back for that second trip. Um, and then I'm going to pass it on to Zach to talk a little bit about who you can talk to for getting your vaccines themselves.
So most importantly, about any other ailment as well as COVID, you can always talk to your healthcare provider about when you'll be able to get the shot. Right now, in the state of California, we're still going off of the different phase system for the rollout for the vaccine. So as far as that goes, it's going to start right with if you're a healthcare worker or if you live with people who are in long-term care facilities or work in long-term care facilities. And then the second wave is residents age 65 and older. And right now, Gavin Newsom, I know, just rolled it out to extend to some educators through in the state to apply for the high school and grade school level so we can get the kids back in school soon. So considering that, if you're concerned about where you're able to do to go ahead and get your vaccine, you can also go on to vaccinateca.com. That's the word vaccinateca, one word, .com. And through there, you're able to see readily available COVID testing as well as vaccine information. So you're able to get that as soon as you can. Over 9 million people currently have already been vaccinated, and the first 3 million are being fully vaccinated with a little over 18% of the state of California. So we're making big strides. And as we're slowly starting to see all the tier systems revert back to red, it's only a matter of time before it gets to you. Like the state of Alaska actually was the first state to go ahead and lift the phase system. So, I mean, it's only a matter of time with these successes that we're seeing right now to where anybody, even myself and Jake here being 20 somethings, are going to be able to get it soon here. Isn't that right, Jake?
Yeah, it's definitely looking much better. And as you can see here, there's a LA Times tracker, which is specifically oriented towards California vaccination levels. So that I know I've been looking at that one just to figure out, because even if you can't get the vaccine yet, any upward tick in the population getting it is a great sign, because that's lesser restrictions and a lot more safer it is to go outside and things like that. So if you want to take a look at that, that's available here on LA Times.
And then just remember, everybody, the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccine, they have limited lifespans, right? Because of the just they're so fragile as a medicine. They require that heavy freezing and such. And a lot of what we're seeing is a lot of vaccination sites are having to throw away discarded vaccines just because they're expiring. So make sure that you do your due diligence too as a consumer for this vaccine, and make sure that where you can get it is readily available, so we don't have to waste anymore as well. And then also, one last thing I wanted to just throw on here: if you already have both of your vaccines and you would want to go ahead and volunteer at a vaccination site to go ahead and get the ball rolling for the rest of your fellow Californians, you can always go to myvolunteer.ca.gov, and that's going to go ahead and show you all of the different ways that you can go ahead and help your own community in getting your neighbors and everybody else in your neighborhood vaccinated. So
yeah, it only takes a few short steps to sign up, and I know that one of the benefits on this, on top of the moral and community benefit, is that you can actually get a vaccine even if you haven't gotten yours yet. I think it was 4 hours of community service at one of these vaccination centers guarantees you a COVID vaccine. Which that, and along with what I've seen some people be doing, actually my sister and my mom have been looking into doing, is because of the fragile nature of the vaccines, as you said, they're actually throwing them out a lot at the end of the day. So right. If you are able to, if you're near a certain vaccination center, you can check in, you can call them, and they're actually trying to get rid of them, like get them to as many people before they have to throw them away. So some people are getting them before they're actually in their phase yet, just through standby lines, which is always a good option. I'm not going to guarantee it for anyone. It's very luck based, but it's helpful. It's hope.
And if you're going onto a website like we were saying earlier, vaccinateca.com, you're able to have an information hub to where you can see those vaccination centers next to you, right, and that are right there in your neck of the woods. So yeah,
and moving on from the vaccination information, it's I know with all the vaccine talk, it's hard to remember that we still are in a semi-lockdown state. So I wanted to move on to the restrictions, and I believe, Zach, you were going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the restrictions, like I had mentioned earlier, we're slowly but surely making progress here. Governor Newsom said in his State of the State address yesterday that by April 1st, we're even going to allow Disneyland and all of our ballparks to reopen in the areas that that are in the red. And for the Bay Area, that is good news. As of the time that this is airing right now, 7 of the 9 Bay Area counties right now are in the red. Napa, Solano, San Francisco, Alameda, Santa Clara, Marin, and importantly, San Mateo, which is home to our great friends in Pacifica and Half Moon Bay. Now, what does this mean for you? This means that you're able to finally go back inside of a restaurant at 25%, right? You're able to go ahead and get your hair and nails done inside now, which I know we've all been waiting for. And if you go here to the city of Pacifica or any city within the county that you're residing in, they should all have specific COVID-19 information for you about exactly where that city or county is in the tier system. Like I said, the majority of Bay Area counties right now are in red, but your county, if you live in Contra Costa, you're still in the purple tier, so you can't go inside the restaurants. So just be mindful and go ahead and check out your local municipality's website. Like we have shown you here, the City of Pacificas, which has wonderful COVID-19 information for all of its residents. And yeah, and now that we've talked about some of the just where the counties are right now, how would you say that the overall experience of the pandemic has been affecting all of us, Jake, with this being the 1-year anniversary and all?
Yeah, especially now that I feel like we've been more acclimated to it, it's very important to not forget the effects that this can be having on your mental health. I feel like everyone tries to keep their regular schedule, but it's hard to get into COVID behaviors, as some people have been calling them, and that COVID mentality. So a few mental health tips that are just important to remember are if you are at school or if you have a job, it's important to still maintain a schedule, even as different as your work experience could be. I know for many, just getting up at the same time you would and getting dressed and eating breakfast at the same time is very important to just feeling like you're still part of that same workflow, and it'll make you more productive and also just keep you more satisfied with what you're doing. I know for myself, just with school, I'll have a class at 7:10, and sometimes I won't wake up until 7:05. And as easy that is to fall into, it's not exactly the most positive thing on yourself. Mm-hmm. And with a lot of at-home stuff, I know that it's important for you to make sure that you are differentiating your school or work from the rest of your day. For some people, this can be a virtual commute, which is what they've been calling it, which is where you take time to just debrief from the rest of your main schedule for the day in order to get more acclimated to your home life. So that can be something as easy as just taking a walk or going on your phone for a little bit, not too long. Another good tip is to focus on what you can control. I know a lot of people fall into these what ifs of questions of COVID, of what if I lose my job? What if I get COVID-19? What if my family member gets COVID-19? And you really can't affect that much other than trying to keep yourself safe and your family as safe as possible. So just remember to focus on what you can do about it, not what you can't control. And then it's always important to find hobbies, because it's just an easy thing to keep your mind off of it. And I know there are a lot of positive hobbies for self-improvement, and just, on top of just being a time waster, they can be a great motivator to learn a new skill or something like that. Like I know a few people have actually learned languages in quarantine. Have you been doing anything in COVID, Zach?
Well, you know what? I've been really participating hardly with my speech and debate team there at the college, and as of late, I've been learning how to, manage and run podcasts. So thanks, everybody. So yeah, that's been the late project that we have going on. Jake, how about you?
Yeah, as you said, I've been working with you on this podcast, and I've just been I read more, I watch more movies, which as much as that sounds as a brainless thing, I mean, for me, that's just a big passion of mine. And going into that, there are a few activity suggestions that I have for ways you can safely keep in contact with your friends and yourself, and just get into things. I know one thing that's been pretty popular, I've actually had the pleasure of enjoying a couple times, is drive-in movies, which have popped up a lot more recently in COVID. People were saying it was a dying medium, but now that it's so it makes so much sense in COVID. It's a great thing to check out.
Yeah,
So you just
not to cut you off, but I mean, my aunt and I, who have been, spending so much time together throughout this whole pandemic, we've been going to drive-through bingo, and
oh, really?
yeah. That's it's available in cities like Berkeley, Vallejo, Concord, out in Contra Costa, not Pacifica just yet, but yeah, it's been driving bingo, and that's been crazy, just seeing all the cars in the parking lot. So that's really cool that drive-in movie theaters, logically are getting a boost as well, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, no, that's
What do
really
you, do
awesome.
you honk when you get a bingo, or
Say that again.
do you honk when you get a bingo, or
Exactly. Yeah. No. I got my first bingo ever just last week, and I laid on that thing. I laid on it. I was probably annoying the people that were next to me, right? But yeah, no, it's pretty cool. And you know what? It's actually a lot more comfortable of an experience because you're not under the harsh UV lights. You're in your nice, comfortable chair. In your car. And then, yeah, you pull up the board on a little Zoom screen, and they plug it in through the radio, just like at the drive-in theater, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. So
that sounds wonderful.
yeah.
Um,
So
yeah. What was that?
any other activities after the drive-in?
Well, yeah. I mean, this is a little bit similar, but ways you can spend times with your friends. I know. I myself, me and a couple of my friends have started virtual book clubs and virtual TV clubs, actually, even with a couple of different groups. So it's a way you can just kind of keep a weekly thing. It's part of that thing I was talking about of keeping a schedule. It's very important to have things to look forward to and things to plan around, so you don't feel like everything every day is just the same.
Right.
So, yeah, with a virtual book club, it's the same as a normal book club. Me and a couple of buddies just meet one times a week, and we talk about. We've gone through. First, we did Frankenstein, and then now we actually moved on to graphic novels such as Watchmen.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
That's been really nice.
Yeah, that's classic.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, I mean that's pretty interesting. I'm a part of like a cinematic fraternity over at San Francisco State, right? And we've been doing a lot of screening parties, where it's like, yeah. It's like where one person is just sharing their screen, and then they have however many just on, the Zoom, and we can all watch and share that, share that experience together, and it's really fun, when everybody's commenting, like crazy. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Uncut Gems, but at the end of Uncut Gems, everybody's like, oh, yeah, it's pretty fun,
That was actually a movie that I think has grown on me in quarantine because if anyone has seen it, it's very tense, and I think seeing that in the theater was actually worse just because I just the sound and everything. I was able to enjoy it a lot better when I was sitting at home.
Yeah. That's true. You have that immersive experience when you're in the theater, which we're slowly starting to get to. Counties are slowly going to start opening up their movie theaters back to 25% too as they move into the red tiers. So you can finally again experience that immersive, experience, which gets you on the edge of your seat. So
all right, well, moving on a bit from that, I believe you were going to talk about some protocols that are always important in this time.
Yeah. So even though, we're moving away from this pandemic, hopefully, and in the right direction, and we're starting to see some states lift up their mandates, like Texas this morning lifted up their mask mandate statewide. The CDC recommends that not only you cover your face with one cloth, but you actually go ahead and cover it with two. And so what you would want to do is you would want to keep your classic fabric mask that you've been wearing this whole time, or your buff or what have you, your gator. And then you're going to want to keep your, your more, your cloth blue mask, like right underneath that. Along with that, still continue to maintain 6 feet, 6 feet apart whenever you're standing in like a line, or try to skip the seat next to you. I imagine that it's still going to be a while before they start to remove the signs on seats, allowing us to all just start to sit next to each other again inside of a waiting room. And then same thing, if you're traveling, it's strongly advised that you get tested before your travel, once you arrive to where you're going, and then once you get back here. And then depending on your test results, do the quarantine as necessary. This is still very adamant as we see the University of Davis actually trying to give their students a $75 incentive to prevent them to coerce them from traveling, to Florida over spring break. Let's be real, and instead, try to just give them a little bit of an incentive not to do that. Um, they if it wasn't a big deal, they wouldn't suggest that. And then lastly, be sure to, you know, not touch your face, not bite your nails, make sure that you wash your hands for at least a solid 20 seconds. Go ahead and sing happy birthday 5 times. Feel like that might suffice. And then just make sure that you're using hand sanitizer in those situations that you can't wash your hands. I know for a lot of older individuals, the hand sanitizer has been very rough on the quality of their skin in their hands, right? It's drying them out from all the alcohols. But still, if you don't have that opportunity to wash your hands, which is more sensitive than the hand sanitizer, you know, make sure to use it in your car. If you know that you have a good half hour before your commute, just for that one instance that you do need to scratch your nose while you're in the car. And yeah, so just make sure that you maintain your social distance, double up on the masks, wash your hands for 20 seconds, and make sure to go ahead and get tested if you haven't been vaccinated already before you go ahead and travel. So those are the main safety protocols. So how do you feel about those?
Yeah,
Those are
I mean,
easy going, right?
yeah, it's I know it can be a little annoying, but it's worth it. And I mean, it's once you get into it, it's not that hard to keep up. You know.
Exactly. Exactly. It's
Um,
been a year now, you know. So I see people walking in Target like, "Oh, can I have a mask?" It's like, where have you been? Right? So yeah. But
uh,
now that we've gone and talked about some of the safety protocols, you had something that you wanted to say about some other recent good news, right?
yeah, great news actually. We just got word just this morning actually that the House has passed bill number, I don't remember the name of it, bill number HR 1319, which is the American Rescue Plan Act. It's a COVID relief bill in the trillions of dollars, and it's part of the long awaited relief plan that's been, going to be getting Americans another set of stimulus checks and state funds that are going to be hitting soon. And as it's gone through as it's made its way through the House, we should be starting to see the benefits of it pretty soon. I know that a lot of people that was a big topic during the political campaigns recently of
Mhm.
trying to get stimulus. It's something the Americans really want. And now that it's actually starting to come through is important. Even though it seems like we're close to the end of this thing, it's people. A lot of people are still in need. A lot of people are unemployed. A lot of people are struggling to just pay their rent or even put food on the table. So it's very important. Uh,
Absolutely.
then on top of that, unless you had anything else to say about that.
No, they tightened the limit to get the stimulus check this time around. So instead of, I believe it was 80 prior, now it's 75,000. You needed to make less than 75,000. So for those individuals, and that's based on your 2019 tax returns, by the way. So for those individuals who were already kind of in that financial situation before COVID went, and turned everything upside down, that $1,400 is going to be very detrimental. And along with that as well, we're going to see the unemployment benefits continued all the way up until the end of September. So that's a 6-month boost, of those unemployment benefits that people desperately need. That'll be a $300 increase on top of the unemployment benefits that they're already gaining. So if you've already been collecting unemployment, you're going to be seeing the same boost that you have been. So yeah, in that 6 months, it's not the 1 month of having zero money. It's the 6 months of having half of your money, that really kills somebody, right? So that is so necessary to have that $300 weekly bump to those unemployment benefits, because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people, like hairdressers are still messed up. Tattoo artists are messed up right now because that's just like a cash carry. Such a deliberate individual, business. Same thing. A lot of people that are bartenders in the restaurant industry are still messed up right now. And while those people need time to get on their feet, this will allow them to do so. So I mean that's what's so great about this whole act right there. So
yeah, it's really a step in the right direction.
Exactly.
So just to start summing things up, I wanted to bring out, we have put together a little list of important resources that we have on the internet that we have. So if we could bring up a graphic with the specific websites, we have these are ones we mentioned earlier. We have citypacifica.org, which is going to be helping for you Pacifica residents to get more specific info. And then we have the COVID-19.california.gov, which is just always a good place for finding COVID information and vaccine information, along with, as Zach mentioned, vaccine.cali.gov. Did I get that right?
Yeah, vaccinateca.com.
Okay, my bad.
Yep, no worries.
And then those other two are just, another great ones you should check out if you need any questions or anything. And you can always reach out to your local officials in terms of trying to get things. I know they've designated a lot of people specifically for outreach, just because so many people are don't have as much access to information as some of us do nowadays.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then another source I'd like to mention here real fast is that we don't want to forget is going to be the volunteertovaccinate.org.ca.gov.
Definitely.
Yes. So, if you want to go ahead and do your part, and like Jake was saying, do your part, and you can go ahead and get your vaccine too. I mean, that's pretty tempting, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. That's pretty much it for our content matter. I just wanted to give a few closing statements for me and Zach. Just to sum things up, it's looking good, and it's hard to say that after so much we've all been through, but we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and within a few months, we'll hopefully have the bulk of this behind us. So, yeah, Zach, if you wanted to say anything.
No, you know what? I completely agree with you. Hopefully, the bulk of this is behind us, and we're on to the new normal, and we can look behind this whole last crazy year of events. And yeah, I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. So it's just important, you guys, just stay safe, just persevere. We're almost done.
Yep, and remember to wash your hands. Mm-hmm. So on that note, I'm Zach.
I've been Jake. This is the COVID Safety Information Podcast. And
thank you all for watching. Yeah, we appreciate it.